Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Couch Conversations with Kim. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Kimberly Boone. I am a licensed clinical therapist and certified master life coach. I pride myself in working with women of faith, helping them to walk into their purpose and truly discover who God has called them to be. The purpose of this show is to talk about all things dealing with mental, emotional, spiritual, cultural, and physical wellness. I really think that this platform will be good for us as women to just come in and talk about all the things that are bothering us, all the things that we deal with on a daily basis, and talk about those elements that I just mentioned and how they really affect us in our day-to-day lives. Today, for my very first episode, I am super excited to have my two sisters as my first guests. My sister-in-law, or sister-in-love, as I like to call her, Tarika, is married to my brother. And then Deanna is actually my sister cousin. She's married to my cousin, but he's raised like my brother, Jason. They are both wives of pastors, and they are just truly women that I love. They are women of faith, they are women of purpose, and they are excellent people to have as my very first guests. So today we're going to talk about things dealing with sisterhood and faith and work-life balance, being a mother, trying to figure out how to walk into our purpose, because as you'll discover from this conversation with our family background, ministry is very, very important, and figuring out how to walk that fine line with really becoming who we are and making sure that we're carrying out the legacy that my grandfather had placed for us, and them now being part of this family and helping their husbands to carry out the vision. So, ladies, are you excited to get started?
Yes. Yes.
So I think first I want to talk a little bit just about just our bond as sisters, and just help people to really understand that when you have family, with us, we're so super close. It's not just like, oh, your sister-in-laws or cousin. We really are like sisters.
Yeah, right.
And, I really think that we've had just some moments that kind of solidified what that means to us. Our family probably be mad from hearing this, but we actually have our own private group chat, that we talk and discuss things. But that's just the relationship that we have, and who we are. And I want to hear from you guys just about like what this sisterhood and friendship means to you guys and how it has purpose in your life.
Well, I guess I'll go first with the longevity here. Well, my husband and I have been married for 14 years. And so I have been around the family for a long time. And when I first started coming around, it wasn't like I was a stranger. They took me right on in.
Absolutely.
It was like, we weren't married, of course, we were just dating, but it was never like an in-law type thing. The family is so close-knit. So I do have a sister, but she is the complete opposite. So, everyone has a balance. And so I have my biological sister who balances me in one area, and then I have my sister-in-law who balances me in another area. So I think you need that. You need to have someone in your life that can provide insight when you need it, and be a positive role model. And she's someone that I definitely looks up to. We've had plenty of good days. We've been around each other for so long. We've seen each other through happy times, through sad times. And like she said, we have our own group chat. So we don't do it to, we're women, and so we all share different types of things. And so, we're all mothers, and Dee is what we frequently call Deanna. We have children, and Kim has Casey. So, we talk about parenthood, and like I said, Dee has boys, so we talk about sports. So it's just a matter of the older we get, the more mature we get, I believe that our bonds grow stronger, and I think we grow closer. As I said, I've been in the family for over 14 years, and Dee has been in the family, she can talk about that, for a long time as well. And so we need each other. We probably didn't know that coming into this sisterhood, this cousinhood that we have, but at the end of the day, I think we need each other. Absolutely. And I don't know where I would be if I didn't have a sister like Kim. my husband, her brother, they're very close. They're thick as thieves. All you hear is Boo and Kim and Kim and Boo. So now, I'm kind of in between. So now you hear Tarika and Kim, Kim and Tarika. So I take pride on being a Boone, and I thank God for the opportunity to let me have a sister such as Kim.
Thank you.
As Tarika said, I've been in the family a long time as well, and my husband and I have been married for 11 years come this October.
Wow.
And we're about that, didn't it, right? So yeah, and like we have 3 children. I have a daughter who's 18, and Kim has a daughter who's 17, and they're both seniors in high school now, so we bonded with that. And like Tarika said, we have the boys with the sports. And just a little background, I've been at the church, Tarika's husband pastor, all of my life. I was born into the church. My parents actually met at the church. And so when they came, the Watsons came to the Tree of Life, and it was in 94, yeah, after Grandpa Clint passed away. I was already here, but Jason and I wasn't a couple yet. I actually met Jason when I was 14, and then we dated for a little bit, and then 10 years went past, and then we got back together, and we got married in 2009. I've been in the family like I said for 11 years now. But Kim, I never had a big sister. I've always been a big sister. I have a sister who's 2 sisters under me, and so I've never had a big sister. Kim has been that for me. Role model, professional, my therapist, because sometimes I need it. But yeah, Kim has been a tremendous help. Tarika's been a tremendous help. Like I said, we get in the family. There's no in-law. We're just family. Mm-hmm. It's a big family, and they're so close. And if you come from a small family, or if you're not used to being around a family such as this family, it can be overwhelming for some people. But it's always been a lot of love, nothing but love. Good times, bad times, all done in love. And like I said, my daughter, I had her before I married Jason. So it was never like, oh, that's Dee's daughter. No, that's our cousin, our niece, So this is it's a lot of love in this family. This family is tight knit, and I'm proud to be a Watson. Very proud to be a Watson, and I hold it in high regard because their grandmother, Kim's grandmother, has set a standard as a wife, and not only a wife, but a minister and pastor's wife, that we, I wouldn't say want to live up to, but we want to make her proud, and that legacy that they, and the foundation they laid for us. So I would say that I think that we're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think so too. Thank you guys for that. But but speaking of that, that's a good segue, because you think about the legacy, that our family and that my grandmother, my grandfather, left behind, and you guys came into this family, not realizing that there's this standard, that you have to live up to, and that the women in our family set this example, and they hold ministry and purpose and prayer and faith, in high regards. And, that's something that we have to always be mindful of, and I think about, for me, and just really walking in my purpose, my grandfather is always in the back of my mind, and me feeling like I have to be an extension of him and what he did, So I think one of the conversations I want to talk about today is, just purpose. And what do you think, your purpose is, and how do you feel? Do you feel pressure, from like our family to carry out, this purpose and walk into, and then upholding, the standards, even your husband's? I mean, my brother is the pastor of Gary, Indiana, which is a small town, but he's known everywhere, and we're always traveling and always on now with social media, and so that's a lot, to look up to. I used to laugh all the time and say that my name is not even Kim, my name was Boone's sister, because people just knew me from that. So as a result, I had to make sure that I was always aware of that, because of what we stand for and who we represent, which is God, not just our family. I don't know. So how do you guys feel? Like, do you know, even now, do you feel like you know what your purpose is? Do you feel like you're still discovering and trying to figure out how to walk in your purpose?
I think you can never fully know what your purpose is. I think every day is a learning experience. As for me, I didn't grow up in the church. My family went to church, but I may have stayed home. It wasn't until I got with your brother that I started going to church. And I actually joined the church his first sermon. So I had been coming for a while, and I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know. And then he preached Steps to Revival. And so that was my first step at becoming who God created me to be. So I think walking in my purpose, of course, there's a lot of weight on my shoulders now, as being a pastor's wife, and of course being a mom. So like you said, you're known as Boone's sister. I'm known as, that's Pastor Boone's wife, or that's the kid's mom. So I always have a standard to uphold. Even before I married him, I always prided myself on doing certain things a certain way, because you always want to have a good name. You don't want to be, well, that's that person who's known as this or known as that. So you always want to have your name carried with high esteem. And so I always took pride in who I was, but now it's like even more prideful to be Tarika Boone, because of whose back I have. Right. I have his back. God has our backs, our fronts, our sides, everywhere. So with that, being a minister's wife is one thing, and then being a pastor's wife is another thing. So we're coming upon 3 years of being pastor and Sister Boone, and so there are big shoes to fill. There is a lot to learn. We're still learning. So I think, to go back to what you said, you can know your purpose, but the problem is you need to make sure that you walk in the purpose, right, and try to perfect it as much as you can. And my husband and I take pride on being a blessing to others, and I think that is one of the main things that we are here for. We bless those in need, and because we bless so many people, God in turn continues to bless us, our children, our families. And I mean, there's just no greater joy than knowing that you're doing right by God and by God's children.
And also, I like what you said. That was so powerful. And with that, it's aligning yourself with the right people, and then think about, us, which is why we have this sisterhood and making sure that we stick together to help each other and have each other's back, because we know what we stand for, and so you have to make sure that who you're with understands what you're trying to do and will help you walk into that purpose. So that was good. That was powerful. Go ahead, Steps to Revival.
No, but like Tarika was saying, you can never really know your full purpose. Every day is a learning process. Never thought that I would be a minister's wife. But here I am. Here I am. And my husband, who is an associate minister of church where Tarika's husband pastor, and that means we have to support him. Especially, like she said, he's coming up on 3 years of being a pastor, and it's new to him, and he's going to need somebody there to hold him up, in order for the ministry to go forth, because he's only one man. He can only do so much. But if he has that help there, then, he can go for longevity, Right. And because I've been in church all my life, but being a minister's wife and a mother and a career woman, it could be a lot. Yes. It could be a whole lot. And so I just want to make sure I keep myself balanced and do what I need to do in life in order for my husband to be great, and for my children to be great, and for our family to be great. Because I know that what I do is going to reflect on him. Yes. It's going to reflect on my children. It's going to reflect on my family, my church family. So I know I can't live any kind of way. And so I know that my purpose, I don't know what it can't say I know, but day to day I'm learning my purpose as a wife, as a mother, as a support system to my family. I play so many roles. So I have to live according to God's word, and I have to lean and depend on God. And I have, like I said, you guys who help me and support me and root for me and got my back. And I just want to be great for God and for the community and for the church, and that's just where I'm at.
Yes.
And that's like my husband he said it plenty of times before. Why be good when God called you to be great?
Yes.
So I mean, that's it in a nutshell. I mean, we're doing great things because we want to live up to being great for God. So,
and like Jason, he talked about your grandfather all the time, how he was a little boy and he was always with your granddad, and how your granddad was for the people, for the community, for the people. He always helped everybody. And so I don't care if we're out to eat or if we're driving down the street, if somebody's in need, he'll pull over and give them, whatever they need. Or, I offer them prayer, offer them God and see do they know God for themselves. And that's just something he just attests to his grandfather for instilling in him. So I feel like I have to be a partner with him in that. I have to, because this is a standard that he's always lived by and seen all of his life. And so I come along and I'm like, okay, this is what we do.
Right.
This is what we do.
Right. Because it's not what we do, so we do.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that you say that, because that's how you know that him and Boo are, related.
Right.
Because, of course, we do the same thing when we go places. And I mean, it can be downtown Chicago when we take our son. Our oldest son has sickle cell, so he has to have go to the hospital every 6 months. So we're downtown Chicago. If there is a homeless person on the street, if they go eat, or if my husband takes them and they go eat, or if I take them and we go eat, if there's any food left over, they give it to the person on the street, or they give them money or something to drink. And when we do go out to eat, my husband always asks the waitress or the waiter, is there anything that I can pray for you for?
Yes, he does.
And they're always taken aback, like, wow, like no one's ever asked me that. I mean, some of them say, no, I'm good. And then some will say, most recently, the lady at the restaurant said, I'm moving into a new apartment, so just pray that that I'm okay, that everything goes well with the move. So I mean, it's simple things, but people don't hear that, because to a lot of people, prayer isn't as important as it is to others. And for us, it's a part of our daily lives. I mean, it's not like we just pray when we need something. We pray, like it says, in season and out of season. So we have to make sure that we're teaching others, and so that we can help others walk in their purpose, we first need to tell them how to have a relationship with God. Like Dee Dee says, she works with the youth, I work with the youth. I'm a scholarship provider, but I do way more than provide scholarships to students. I mean, it's all over Lake County. If you call me and you say you need help with something, I got you. So it's like, that's my time to invite students to church and, tell their parents about church and, what we're doing. Because at the end of the day, a lot of the students call me mom, they call me aunt, they call me whoever, and I'm whoever they need me to be. But as long as I'm helping mold them, and if I can help mold them into a better young woman or a better young man, then I can help them start to learn how to fulfill their purpose in which God created them for. So, I mean, this sisterhood is more than just, us being related. It's blood doesn't make you, related. We don't have the same blood. But at the end of the day, I sound like my husband. At the end of the day, it was God.
That's right. Gotta preach up in here, girl. But that is the truth, though. It is. And thinking about prayer and like how important prayer is. And it's not something that we just say, it's something that we do. And we also know that if we need prayer, we can call on each other to pray and know that a prayer is going to get through. And so I think about like everything we talked about and how we're talking about making sure that we're fulfilling the legacy and the standards of other people. But as women, we have our own needs as well. And sometimes, like you said, Dee Dee, we wear all these hats we wear these hats and then we don't wear the hat of self-care.
Yeah.
And so we don't know how to take care of ourselves. And I think about prayer as one of those forms of self-care for me.
Yeah.
You know, and I try to create those moments where I am praying and I'm spending time with God and I'm reading a devotional, or I'm just sitting there waiting to hear from Him, or I'm listening to a sermon or something. And I was listening to a sermon from Pastor Dr. Jamal Bryant, and he was talking about tithing, and your 10%. Yeah. And he said, but are you giving 10% to God? And he was talking about, how it's 24 hours, in a day, and are you taking 10% of that 24 hours and devoting it to God, and we miss that. And I think we miss the importance of how that does something to us, how it settles our spirit, how we can hear, how it gives us directions, how He leads us and guide us. And if we want to be these women of purpose, we want to be these women that are not just doing good, but are being great, then we need Him to lead us. And a prayer life is just so important, and I think about just self-care as a whole, with us as women, you guys do so much. Tarika, you never sit down.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, never.
That's as long as I done sat all day.
Yeah, so what are some things that you guys do for self-care? And if not, be honest. If you need to implement some things so that you can get in your day. Because I think as women, we're so busy about worrying about taking care of other people. And we're so busy, we're last on the list.
Yeah. I recently just got back into working out. I told Jason, hey, I need at least an hour at the gym. He's like, we got equipment downstairs. No.
Away.
And go to the gym. He give me his little flap or whatever like that. But I can go to the gym and get my health, and I come back and I'm happy-go-lucky mommy, happy-go-lucky wife, because I had that hour to be just yourself. To myself. And I need that because, like I said, I wear so many hats. Got that 2-year-old running around the house.
I'll talk about my nephew.
Got that 2-year-old.
That's an exercise right there.
Oh, it is, but yeah.
and I ain't gonna be able to do the gym. I just can't. I mean, my husband said, we don't work out, so we don't do anything till we don't work out. And I'm looking like, you be trying to kill somebody.
Everybody working out with him.
I ain't gonna be able to do that. I may do some squats or some jumping jacks, but that's in the basement. There really is my me time is going to pick my son up from school. And that's if Emma doesn't come with me. There's I don't really have where I can just go here or go there. Yeah. And if I am going to get a pedicure or something, I got to be back on the time schedule. I got to go pick a kid up from gymnastics or football practice or something. Baseball practice. So, like I said earlier, I have 4 kids, and all of my kids play at least 2 sports. They play every sport: soccer, volleyball, basketball, baseball, football. Emma is in gymnastics. Yeah. They've done cheerleading. I mean, they do it all. I mean, and I don't discourage them, but I'm the one that take them to the practice and the game. So I'll be out there like, Lord have mercy, can they cancel practice today? But I mean, there is really my husband hates the word me time, but there's really no me time because I'm always doing something. If it's not for him and the business or the church, it's the kids. Mm-hmm. So, honey, I need to go back to the spa. whenever you see this, send me back to state of mind, please.
So, we have talked about a lot today, but one of the things that we have not talked about is some of the hard stuff that has happened, in our family, and just I think that speaks of our connection and speaks of our sisterhood, and kind of really touch upon we talked a lot about spiritual wellness, but the emotional and the mental health piece of this conversation. And many of you don't know because you don't really know us, but if you do, our family has endured a lot of hardships and a lot of death in the last recent years. And with us being such a strong spiritual family and a family of faith, it still knocked us down. And we had to figure out how to come together as a family and build ourselves back up. We've had some really hard hits back to back to back to back. And it was like, man, God, woo, you say you don't put more on us than we can bear, but woo, we really holding on, by a thread. But in the end, though, it has made us stronger, don't you guys think? And we've been able to come together like never before as a family. Our family was already close, but these deaths and these tragedies and these things that have happened recently has made us further understand the importance of family and really know how to come together. The men in our family are very strong. They're very protective. But when you see them look defeated sometimes, and when you see them feel like they don't have the answers, and when you see them looking like, God, I don't know what to do, it does something, to you. And I'm just thinking about, even the most recent death, of my cousin, who I love so much. David, that really just came out of nowhere. None of us were expecting it. And I think that was kind of that last moment for our family to kind of say, you know what? I don't know how much more we can take. And so let's talk a little bit about how even when you are prayed up, and even when you spiritual, and even when you a pastor or a pastor's wife, or you a usher, you a trustee, you all this stuff in the church, how even in that, it can make you question things sometimes, and it can bring you down to, your lowest point. And so thinking about that, the positives that came is we recognize our strength, but the negative was still that we lost someone, and that void is still there. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about, as our last topic of our couch conversation is, how have you guys been able to deal with the mental and emotional part of that? And do you feel like this has strengthened your faith, or do you feel like sometimes you still struggle with why we've had to, endure so much loss and tragedy? I know for me, it's been very hard. And the only way for me, I think, to keep going is to not focus on it, and to pray and look about the strength and think about the legacy that every time we leave someone, that we have even more to live for. And I think that's what has kind of kept me going. And even me, I'm the mental health professional, but I can be torn down. I can be knocked down too. And if it wasn't for God, if it wasn't for my faith, if it wasn't for you guys, I don't know how I would have made it through. How have you guys been able to handle that and even help your husbands, deal with this? And what can you say to other people, other women out there who are women of faith and are dealing with loss and grief, and not even just death, divorce and loss of lifestyle, just anything that, can kind of shift the trajectory of your life. How would you advise people, and how have you guys been able to do it?
Well, for me, which is not a good thing, but I feel like I'm not able to grieve because I'm trying to be strong for everyone else. And I'm about to cry.
I hear it.
Oh gosh. But I feel like that's what I do. I try to be strong, and I'm the one behind the scenes trying to help with the funeral arrangements and trying to help with the obituaries and trying to make sure that the family is straight, not even realizing that I am the family. So I mean, it's not a good thing, but that's just something that I do. And that's trying to make sure everyone else is okay, even when I'm not okay. So as I keep saying, it's not good. Again, as my husband says, when you are holding it in, it's not good. You need to cry. You need to let those tears out, because that's the only way that you'll be able to get past or, show some type of emotion of what's going on. He always says something, I can't think of it right now, but he said something about the tears. It cleanses the soul.
Or it's a release.
Yeah, it's a release. And so, but I may cry, but at the end of the day, it's like, okay, what they need help with, what I gotta do, what they need help with. And so that's the type of person that I am, trying to make sure that everyone around me is okay, but at the same time, keeping my feelings on the inside, because I don't want to burden anyone else with my grief, because I want them to be okay. So I know, as I keep saying to our audience, I know it's not good for me, so I highly suggest you all not do that, but that's just the type of person that I am. And I don't want to burden my husband with it, because these last few deaths have been his family, his close family. So, I have to, undergird him and keep him on track and make sure that he's in his right mind frame, because these deaths have been like blow after blow after blow. And as she said, when you see the men in the family and they're not able to cope and they're, questioning and, what's going on? Do I turn back to the old me? Do I stay on track with God? It's messing with their mental. So I have to just pray and say, God, please keep my mind stayed on you, and, let me say the right words to not only my husband, but my family, because it's a lot. I mean, at your darkest hour, you find out how strong you are, because you don't know how strong you are until you have to be strong.
Yes.
So that's something that I think all women go through that, and they're trying to be even though the men are known to be protectors, by nature, women are protectors as well. So, we protect those. We're nurturers. So, we protect and nurture those that we love, and try to shield them from any pain. And then when they do feel pain, we try to make that pain a little less easier to bear. So I really don't have a coping mechanism per se. I just keep it to myself, because I want to make sure that everyone else is fine, even though I myself inside is not as well as I should be.
And when that happens, you got to find those moments for yourself, to be able to grieve, because you don't want it to come out, in other ways. 'Cause when you think about grief, it can come out as anger. A lot of times it can turn into depression, anxiety when you don't deal with it. And so it's important for us to figure out, our proper way of grieving, whatever that is, so that we can really be able to release it all. Yeah. Did you have anything to add to that?
Just that, like you guys said, the men in the family are strong. I know Jason, he internalizes a lot, but like you said, these last few years have been really, really hard. And to see him, who really shows emotion, cry, or look like he's defeated, or get angry to a point where, is it really worth, living for God like this, when people can be so cruel, and you can just revert back to doing things that you would do before, and you got to keep him on, straight and narrow. It's you need a lot. You have to pray a lot, and you have to encourage a lot, and be there, and just not only with the men though. Talk about the kids. My 9-year-old, who is still trying to learn what death is, it's hard for him when he can't see Greenie anymore. That's Lewis, our cousin Lewis. His nickname is Greedy, but he called him Greenie. And, you trying to explain to him what death is. And, when dad can't do it, you got to be there to step in, because dad is hurting. So it's trying to be supportive for the husbands, trying to be supportive for the children who are just learning about death, and just for the family as a whole. And I internalize things too, Tarika, so don't feel bad. But I think that's what women do, especially when you have people who depend on you. And us as mothers, and we're nurturers, it's just what we do. We try to put on this face as if everything's okay or you got it all, but inside you're hurting too. So I just, as Teresa said, don't do what we do and keep it all in. It's best to, if you got to go in the bathroom and cry. I know I've cried a lot in the shower, so that my kids can't hear it, or my husband can't hear it. Because when I come out the bathroom, I got to be, mom. I got to be wife. I have to put on this face as if I got everything together, or I got y'all. Don't worry about it. But it's just something that we do. We shouldn't do. But I mean, it happens, and I have you guys, and I'm thankful for you guys, because I know a lot of times when I couldn't talk to Jason, because I know he's already been emotional, I had you guys to talk to. So I'm grateful, and like I said, I'm glad for the bond that we share, and I'm just grateful for this family.
Yeah, and it just speaks back to sisterhood and the importance of it, and having that bond and having each other, so that no matter what we go through, the good, the bad, and the ugly, we can be right here for each other. And that's what I'm trying to promote, on this YouTube show, is really just to help women to feel empowered, help women to discover their purpose, help women to remember and understand that you are not alone. Whatever it is that you're going through, you always have someone. And if you can't find that person, more importantly, you always have God.
Yes.
I want to thank you guys for being my very first guest on my show. I want to thank all of you who are tuning in to Mental Chatter TV. If you have not liked or subscribed, please do so. Please share. Please tell everyone. If you want to reach me on Instagram, you can do so at mental_chatter, on Facebook at mentalchatter219, and on Twitter at bNicoleKimberly. Also on my website is www.mentalchatter.com. Thank you again. I'll see you next time.